Episode 1 Born to Break Free Lagos. 1998. The kind of morning that smells like Ogi and Sunday school shoes. Amanda Okafor came into the world fighting. She was 3 minutes old when she yanked the hospital bracelet off her tiny wrist, as if she already knew she was not about to be labeled, categorized, or contained. Her parents, Pastor Emmanuel and Deaconess Grace Okafor, dedicated her to God the very next Sunday, right there at the altar of Covenant Life Assembly, in front of 342 witnesses, most of whom had opinions about everything. "This child is a vessel of honor," Pastor Emmanuel declared, his voice booming off the rafters. Amanda gurgled. Some people thought it was an amen. Others thought it sounded like a protest. They were both right. Growing up in the Okafor home was like growing up inside a manual, a very thorough, very laminated manual. No secular music, no sleepovers, no male friends who were not brothers in the Lord. Hemlines had to sit below the knee. Curfew was 6 p.m., because nothing good happens after dark, according to Deaconess Grace, who had never once verified this claim scientifically. Amanda tried. She really did. She memorized scriptures faster than anyone in her Sunday school class. She won 3 Bible quiz trophies. She sang in the junior choir until her voice cracked somewhere between 12 and 13, and she emerged on the other side of puberty with cheekbones that made the ushers nervous and curves that made the deacons avert their eyes during offering. That was when the rules tripled. "You must be more careful now," her mother would say, as if Amanda's body were a loaded gun she was carelessly waving around. "I didn't do anything," Amanda would reply. "That is not the point." But Amanda needed a point. She needed a reason, a why, and nobody in Covenant Life Assembly seemed interested in giving one. It was always because God said so, followed by a Bible verse that may or may not have answered the question she was actually asking. So at 17, Amanda Okafor did what many girls who are handed a cage and no explanation eventually do. She started dreaming about the door. University of Lagos. 2009. The door opened. Her parents had prayed, fasted, given Amanda a devotional journal, a pepper spray, and a list of approved churches within a 5-kilometer radius of her hostel. Amanda smiled, hugged them, waved until their car disappeared, then turned around and exhaled the longest breath of her 20-year life. She was free, or so she thought. The freedom, she would later realize, was actually just a very wide runway, and she had no idea yet how to fly. She stopped going to church by week 3. Not dramatically. There was no letter, no announcement. She simply didn't go one Sunday because her roommate Chinwe was going to a party and it sounded more fun than a 3-hour service with a pastor who sneezed like a foghorn. One Sunday became 2. 2 became a month became a lifestyle. And somewhere in that first year, Amanda Okafor discovered the intoxicating pleasure of choosing everything for herself: what to eat, where to go, who to talk to, what to wear. She bought her first pair of shorts. Then a sleeveless dress. Then a top that her mother would have needed smelling salts to survive the sight of. She felt alive, luminous, untethered. She also, quietly, started to feel a little lost. But the noise of freedom was loud enough to drown it out. For now. His name was Tunda. He was in her economics class. He had a jaw like something carved from mahogany, a smile that arrived 3 seconds before the rest of him, and a way of saying Amanda that made it sound like a whole sentence. She was 20. He was 23. That gap felt sophisticated. "You're different from other girls," he told her, which was, she would later understand, the oldest line in the history of lines, right up there with "I've never felt this way before and my girlfriend doesn't understand me." But Amanda was 20, and 20 is the age when you believe things because they feel true, not because they are. They dated for 4 months. He was attentive in the beginning, texts at midnight, showing up at her faculty with jollof rice and soft drinks, holding her hand in public in the particular way that made other girls glance over. Then month 3 arrived and something shifted. The texts slowed. The jollof rice stopped. He started being busy in ways that had very little detail attached to them. Amanda found out about the other girl on a Tuesday. One of Chinwe's friends saw them at Chicken Republic, same booth, same intertwined fingers that had once belonged to Amanda. She cried for 2 days. Ate an entire pack of digestive biscuits. Called Chinwe repeatedly. "He's scum," Chinwe declared, with the confident authority of someone who had been heartbroken 4 times and had a growing vocabulary for it. "All men," Amanda agreed tearfully. She did not mean it yet. She still believed Tunda was an anomaly. She would revise this belief several more times before the story was over. To be continued in episode 2.